Hi everyone, welcome back to this week's market review video. Tuesday market review. It's pretty common for me now to upload my market reviews on Tuesday. I think it's always a pretty good day to set an outlook for the week and discuss a plan for the week ahead. So let's get into it. Mondays for me, they're always a bit of a day to just watch what's happened over the weekend, see how the weekend price action has developed. In our case, we had a bit of a sell-off on the weekend, fairly controlled weekend price action. It's pretty common lately that we see some sort of directional flow from Bitcoin on the weekend. We can see last week, Friday, we got that sort of like Friday pump, and then Saturday retraced into Sunday before sort of putting in a reversal later in the week. And then again here we can see sort of Friday pump and then moved into Saturday, retraced, Sunday sold off, Monday again sort of like that weekly open sell-off before bouncing. I think this time around obviously we have FOMC on Wednesday. From what I'm hearing, and from what I've seen in previous FOMC statements, they're pretty set on leaving rates unchanged. I think that's pretty much going to be a given again, and obviously if something does change, which will be very unexpected, the market should react massively off the back of that. So despite there being talk on rates being unchanged, then we should still pay attention to such event. Right now there's pretty controlled selling, probably from the spot side of things. This is normal into FOMC. Historically we see a lot of risking off into FOMC just in the event there is some sort of unexpected outcome. Right now we can see that we have completely stacked lows. Historically, in prior trends, I discussed this in my market review last week, but it's pretty common for Bitcoin to have these stacked trends, like stacked lows like this. And a lot of the time, if the trend is truly strong, we don't see such a deep sweep below this. Usually they're pretty shallow and leaving a lot of lows unswept. Like I said, we have got FOMC tomorrow, so it does throw a bit of a spanner in the works in terms of price action and whether we do go to sweep, depending if spot continues to selling, and as long as we keep getting this like really aggressive sell side flow, we can see it's really difficult for longs right now. And I did try a long about an hour and a half ago and cut it quickly, just simply because there's a lack of momentum on the long side. Even shorts are getting away for a free ride down here. So back what I was saying about the lows getting swept, we can see from the October-November break last year how we do get pullbacks and we do get these very shallow sort of like wicks and flushes, but a lot of the time we leave heavily stacked lows. Again here we leave heavily stacked lows. Back in the February-March break we left some stacked lows, stacked lows, stacked lows, stacked lows, and then again in the October-November break we break up, stack lows, stack lows. So we see this is quite a common trend from Bitcoin, which brings me to sort of my outlook here, that we have seen a considerably great reclaim above 93k. This is 93k is sort of this prior range low area for BTC. It's kind of my line for bullish continuation. Basically, if we were to deviate above here and lock in a deviation back below sort of 93k on the daily, I think this could look very bad. That would probably start a trend down into June. Maybe we eventually get one more final bounce, but locking in a deviation above here would be very poor for bulls. If we were to lock in the deviation above here and fall back below this 93k region, I'm pretty sure we just go back to sort of summer range and summer chop, and then look at repositioning into spot towards the end of summer for a bounce in Q4. So from here it's a really important place. Not only do we have the 93k level from here, we also have the Q1 VWAP from this year at 93,480. We can see that we've held this quite well. Currently we're trading above the developing quarterly value high, and if we do deviate, it's got to be a higher time frame deviation. There's no reason why we can't sweep and then continue. This is completely likely, but I would prefer a scenario where we didn't sweep, just because that would sort of confirm that that higher time frame aggression from Bitcoin and probably some bullish continuation. You know, we can see back here we had those stacked equal lows and we still failed to sweep. Developing yearly VWAP at 91,700. This remains a very important place to continue to hold. So far this year, you know, we were rejecting from this area pretty harsh every time, and now again we're looking to hold above it. So a sweep into low 91s can be completely possible, and we can bounce there, but overall 93k, that's the main level to hold for bulls on the higher time frame, and failing to hold here and deviating under here could and most likely will invalidate my bullish idea of seeing new highs in May and June. Bitcoin dominance continues to rally. This is a very important thing to keep an eye on right now, especially if you are positioned into some altcoin spot bags like myself, looking at scaling in on a potential drop into low 90s here. With Bitcoin dominance rallying still, if we did get a drop into 91 and a deviation on BTC, it's very important that we look at cutting our spot bags and cutting ties with those early, since dominance remains so strong. I think alts will get completely blasted on a deviation under here. But for now, I expect this area to remain a very strong support. I see no reason why I should be bearish into this support just yet. This area should and will remain rock solid support until we start to see a higher time frame deviation under here. Dollar is looking really weak as of right now. It is sort of flirting with this support just below $100. The deviation back under 99 could be fantastic for the dollar, or for risk assets, and poor for the dollar. I would expect to move down to low 90s if we deviate 99 on the dollar, and historically this has been a strong place for BTC to trend as well. Every time the dollar has deviated this $99 region, it has rallied considerably. You can see back in May, when the dollar broke down here, we can see BTC rallied again here. When the dollar broke down in 2020, BTC rallied. If we were to do a similar thing on the dollar here below 99, then we could see the BTC rally as high as 140 this year, 140 plus. So that's important to keep our eye on. Sol, this is a coin I'm in spot on, along with a couple of Sol memes that I'm scaling into. But I think Sol looks great as long as it can continue to hold this 135 level. I'm bidding into 130 to 120 on Sol. And my invalidation is if we deviate here, right? And this is what I mean by deviations, because there's such a significant reclaim across the board, especially on Sol. If we were to deviate here and to get stuck back underneath this 135 region, we probably shoot for new lows. So we're getting to a point now where it's a very important area across the board for altcoins, because if they do deviate these good reclaims that they've put in and they fail to bounce into these regions, it's going to look ugly, and we're probably going to look to make new lows under the March lows. So overall, for now, it's best to get FOMC out the way this week. We do have a weekend gap, like I said. If we look at the weekly open is here, and the Friday close is here. So all of this move from the weekend is almost like a CME gap, or as I like to call them, a weekend gap. I think there's a good chance, if we continue to hold this 93k region, that we can backfill the weekend gap following FOMC. Right now, I'm not too fussed on taking leverage positions. Bitcoin remains to trade in this 6-day composite value area, so we have to assume that until we get a good break either above here or below here, we'll just continue to bracket in this 6-day composite. Overall, I think we are due for upside, and as long as the 93k region holds on the higher time frame, I think we can look to trade to 100k to 102k plus this month. Any sweep into the low 90s areas, I think is a fantastic opportunity to be a buyer. If we fail to bounce here, I'm pretty sure we throw any bullish idea and bias out the window until the rest of summer. So, you know, the window for continuation is getting very smaller here. There's a lot of disbelief still, and I think it is a recipe for us rallying higher going into summer. That's all my comments on BTC this week. Hopefully you gained something important from it, and hopefully you can make the right decisions yourself. Make sure you check out the socials in the link below, and we'll see you guys on Friday for my live stream. Thank you very much.